I've had my Steam Deck for about 3 months now, so naturally, I think it's time to start tearing it apart.
Hey Jeff, I was just...
Shh!
What?
Shh! Do you hear that?
Hear what?
Exactly. Stunning RGB, powerful airflow, and eye-catching features. The PureBase 500FX from Be Quiet is 20 years in the making and the perfect place to start your next build. The included Lightwing fans will help keep your PC cool and quiet, and the combination addressable RGB and fan hub makes cable management and setup a breeze. Check out the PureBase 500FX from Be Quiet today by following the link down in the video description. Welcome back to Craft Computing, everyone. As always, I'm Jeff. So, the Valve Steam Deck has definitely been revolutionary in the handheld PC gaming market. But as good as it is with edge-leading specs and affordable price points, that doesn't mean that some improvements can't be made. Even with its slew of input options, there's been one notable absence when comparing it to other handhelds on the market, and that's the use of Hall Effect sensors for the joysticks and triggers. The Steam Deck uses standard potentiometer-based inputs, which uses electrical resistance to determine its position on the X and Y axis. The problem is, those parts can wear down eventually and lead to joystick drift, a common problem in controllers like the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons or the PlayStation 5. Consoles like the Aya Neo Next and the Aya Neo Air, which I reviewed on this channel last week, have been shipping with Hall Effect sensors instead. Rather than using electrical resistance, these are using magnets to determine the location on the X and Y axis, and they're both more accurate and more resilient as they're not prone to wear since there's no moving parts. Lucky for us, third-party upgrade options have already been cropping up on the market, which brings us to today's video. I'm going to be installing this Hall Effect joystick kit from GuliKit into the Steam Deck, and this is purpose-built to replace the stock joysticks. Now, at this point in time, there haven't been a lot of reports of joystick drift issues on the Steam Deck, outside of some early models which were actually a bug in software, not hardware related. But as all potentiometer-based joysticks will eventually suffer from drift, at $30 this is a pretty good preventative maintenance option. Installation of the kit seems fairly straightforward. There's just a couple of screws on the back of the Steam Deck to remove the back panel, and a couple more to remove the built-in joysticks. However, there is one sticking point that may cause people to shy away from performing this upgrade, and that's the requirement to solder on the capacitive touch wire to the new joysticks. However, the purpose of today's video is to show not only the process of installation, but to show you can probably do this with as cheap as a $10 or $15 soldering iron. So, with all that out of the way, let's get to it. So, to start out with, all you need are a couple basic tools. I've got a multi-bit screwdriver right here. I've got a soldering iron that I bought for about $15 from Home Depot, gosh, probably 6 or 8 years ago at this point. And I've got a pair of snips, just in case. So, let's go ahead and get this thing apart. So, the screws on the back of the Steam Deck are a Phillips number 1, and there appears to be 8 of them. Alright, with those 8 screws out, we should be able to pop open the back of the shell. So the way to do that is get a thin piece of plastic, like a spudger or a guitar pick, and just work it in between, and slowly and carefully lift up all the way around the edge. And the back panel should release and lift right off. So already we can see what we're looking for, and that is the right and the left joysticks right here. You can see there's a ribbon cable connecting each one, and there's 3 screws holding each of these in. So I'm going to start over here on the right joystick. We're going to lift up very carefully on this little tab to release the ribbon cable, and then pull out on that blue tab to get it separated. And then there's just the 3 screws holding it in place. And just like that, we have our right joystick removed. And now we come to the very difficult bit, and that is unsoldering the capacitive touch wire from the PCB. As you can see, this red wire right here goes from the PCB up into the cap of the joystick. We're going to remove the joystick itself and then unsolder that pad right there from the PCB and transfer that over to the new joystick. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and remove the left joystick, and it is the same exact procedure. Lift up on the little tab, pull back on the ribbon cable to get that separated, and then 3 screws to remove it. And just like the right joystick, you can see we've also got our left joystick with that same capacitive wire on the PCB. Let's go ahead and set the Steam Deck aside for the moment, and we'll get our soldering iron up and running. Now, this is a butane soldering iron, and like I said, I picked this up from Home Depot about 6 years ago or so for $15, and I believe they are still available. Something like this, or even a very basic electric soldering iron, are really all you need, because all we're doing is melting solder just long enough to get it off of one PCB and then onto another. So it doesn't take a lot of heat or a lot of skill. And the way this one works is we lift up on this cap right here, we turn on the gas, and then I light the butane. There we go. We've got a nice little blue flame in there. Lower it down, and that soldering iron will start to heat up. I definitely prefer butane soldering irons to electric ones when it comes to really cheap and handheld ones like this, as you're not tethered down with a cord. And so, especially if you're new to soldering, this will prevent you from burning yourself more often than not. And as you can see right down in there, we are starting to glow red hot on the tip itself. So we just need to wait for that to get up to temp. I'm going to clean off this tip, and then we'll get to soldering. And shame on me for not cleaning the tip last time I used this. Always keep your tip clean. There's your tip for the day. With the iron up to temp, we can start getting this thing apart. So I'm just going to remove the joystick cap itself, and you can see that is held on there with that wire. I'm going to flip this around so hopefully all of you can see. I'm going to grab the wire with a set of tweezers here, heat it up, and hopefully get it removed. And like me right now, if you find the solder is not quite wanting to heat up and remove, you can actually add a bit of new solder to the joint, and that should help liquefy it. And there we go, just like that. Same thing to our left one here. And now we can set both of those aside, and let's open up our new kit. So here is the new kit of Hall Effect Joysticks from GuliKit, and as you can see, they look pretty much identical on the rear to the stock joysticks. So I'm going to go ahead and pull both of those out. Put those over there. And right up here at the top of the new joysticks in the same location is the solder point for the capacitive wire. And the same way we took it off, I'm going to go ahead and tin my soldering iron just a touch. Place that right on the pad. And hopefully get a good connection just like that. And we can place the joystick right on top. Make sure it moves freely. And move on to the next one. Same thing, just a little bit of touch of solder there. Place it down on the pad. And there we go. Another good looking connection. So we're going to loop that around just like before. Make sure it rotates free. And we're ready to install those back into my Steam Deck. So now it is the same process, just in reverse. We're going to grab our Steam Deck, get our left joystick put into place here, get it screwed back down. With that screwed down, I'm going to take a piece of plastic like a spudger. I'm going to lift up very gently on that tab, and put the ribbon cable back into place, push it back down. And we're going to flip the Steam Deck around and make sure it's rotating freely. Now we can do the same thing with the right stick. And again, lift up that little tab. Put our ribbon cable in place. lock it back down. Flip it on over, make sure the right joystick moves freely. And I think we're ready to start testing this thing. With the joysticks reinstalled, there's just one more thing that we have to do, and that is calibrate them. You see, the Steam Deck joysticks are calibrated from the factory, and each of them has slightly different values. So we need to go through the same calibration process. To do that, we're going to turn on the Steam Deck while leaving the back of the Steam Deck open. You can see it turning on right here. Once the Steam Deck has booted up, there's a little button right here by the ribbon connector. We're going to press that to set the joystick into calibration mode. So I'm going to press in on that. And we're going to do the same thing over here on the left joystick. There we go. Now I have a USB keyboard and HDMI connected to the Steam Deck, so you can see exactly what it is I'm doing. With the Steam Deck booted up, we're going to go into the Steam menu, go down to Power, and then switch over to Desktop mode. Once on the desktop, we're going to enter the terminal, which is known as Console, starting with a K. Inside the console, type in thumbstick cal, or simply hit THUM and then tab, and it'll bring up the calibration program that you have installed. We're going to hit enter, and then simply follow the instructions on the screen. So release thumbsticks to their center resting position and press A. Press A on the control here, or enter. There we go. Rotate both thumbsticks 360 degrees through their full deflection. Do that on both. And then hit enter again. And we should be all set. Now we can go ahead and reassemble the Steam Deck, while of course shutting it down first. So I've been playing with this for the last hour or so, and I already have some feedback to give. Number one, I do recommend spending the $30 and taking the 30 minutes to an hour and doing this mod yourself. There are some immediate benefits as far as the feel and overall responsiveness of the joysticks. Let's get into that first. So obviously I have my Steam Deck all reassembled here. Go ahead and power it up, and then we're going to go down to the settings menu. We're going to go down to controller and then over to calibration and advanced settings. Now here you'll see the joystick. So we've got our left joystick and right joystick. And inside of here, there is a predefined dead zone, and that's based on the analog sticks that we already removed. With the switch over to Hall Effect Joysticks, there are a couple immediate benefits. Number one is we will never have to account for stick drift over the life of the joystick, and that is usually done with a dead zone. A dead zone is kind of what it sounds like. It's a distance from the center position that will not be registered until you cross it. So you can see right here, only when the center circle is red are we actually registering joystick input. Since we don't have to account for drift over the lifespan of the joystick, we can actually make that a smaller dead zone, thereby giving us a wider range of input and getting a more accurate joystick. So as you can see right now, I have to move the joystick a fair bit before it will actually start to register any movement. Well, if we adjust this slider down here, I actually found that we can go all the way down to about 5,500 for the dead zone instead of 82. What that means is now my joystick will be much snappier from the center, but I have all this range of motion to play with that is actually registering input. What's better is I can still register an L3 input by pushing in on the joystick without registering movement on the stick itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing for the right joystick. Move that down to about 5,500. There we go. And same deal, I can get a click pretty easily without registering any input, and now I have a wider range of motion. But enough talk, let's go ahead and jump into a game that does rely on joystick inputs and accuracy. So let's jump into Borderlands. Now, one thing I noticed in the first little bit of using this is these joysticks are slightly stiffer than the stock inputs, and I kind of like that feel. I don't know if there is a stronger spring. At this point, all of this is going to be anecdotal. But a stronger spring and a stronger return to center would mean a faster return to center and, in some cases, more accurate input because you're not having to hold the joystick in a certain position, you're just pressing against it, if that makes any sense. So again, I've been playing with this for about an hour now or so, and honestly, I'm pretty impressed. On paper, this is giving me more response on the joystick and a wider range of motion. Anecdotally, I don't know that I can tell. Again, I think my own impressions of this are the joysticks themselves are a little bit stiffer, and if the Hall Effect joysticks stand up the way that they should, this is probably a worthwhile upgrade to do to your Steam Deck. I mean, I'm no professional gamer. Obviously, if I'm using a Steam Deck for my input device, I'm not aiming for, professional level fragging, but I appreciate a good input device as much as the next person. And the more life I can get out of the Steam Deck and the longer my joysticks are accurate, the happier I'm probably going to be with it. Boom. I think that's a good shot to finish with. All right, wrapping up the GuliKit electromagnetic joystick module for the Steam Deck. I would say $30 probably well spent. Again, assuming that the Hall Effect joysticks do last longer than the potentiometer-based ones. The Steam Deck hasn't been out long enough to really give it a full endurance test of multiple years of use and mobile travel. But I do know Hall Effect joysticks in general are more reliable than potentiometer-based joysticks. And there's a reason devices like the Ion Neo Next are coming with Hall Effect joysticks as standard. Overall, the package is fairly inexpensive at just $30, and it is a pretty easy install process so long as you own a soldering iron. And if you don't, you can pick one up for, like I said, right around $15 and do this modification yourself. I do hope one day there will also be replaceable Hall Effect triggers for the Steam Deck, but I think that's going to be a little bit more of an endeavor for a third-party company to come up with. But in the meantime, I would say Hall Effect joysticks, worthwhile upgrade. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing for daily shenanigans like this. And if you like the content you see on this channel and want to help support me in what I do, consider joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. Also down in the description, an affiliate link where you can buy the GuliKit joysticks. Now, full disclosure, I bought these because I wanted them. I have no affiliation with GuliKit, and in fact, I've reviewed one of their controllers before, and it wasn't all that positive. So, take from that what you will. That's going to do it for me in this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys. Beer for today is a classic. It is the Founders All Day IPA, clocking in at 4.7%. If you're not familiar with this beer, use it, know it, love it. It is pretty much my go-to session IPA. Gives you everything you love in an IPA, and only 4.5%. I don't know how much more of a review you want than that. It's a good beer.